Fancy intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Noah Grove. This is 5 fast tips on how to teach yourself to play piano. First tip is to learn the chords and learn the notes. This is where most teachers start. My biggest suggestion for you here is to not let it intimidate you. The piano is actually a great instrument to teach yourself chords on because it is so visual. On any instrument, you will develop a feel for shapes and patterns and hand positions that you'll grow accustomed to and will become second nature. It takes time, not as long as you might think, but the piano is great because it lays it out there plainly for you to see as you learn. Every key is a specific note. There aren't that many, and it never changes. Every key is exactly that same note. It never changes, except for like after a long time goes by, it'll start to go to tune. You got to get somebody to put your piano back in tune. Unless you're using a keyboard, it is never going to change. And there really aren't that many. The scale consists of 12 notes total. That's it, and then it just repeats. So you look for middle C, which is the middle key of the keyboard, and if you go up 12 notes from middle C, you're going to be at C again. Once you teach yourself what notes the keys are and then what minor and major keys are, you just apply that to each note listed above and you can play minor and major chords in all 12 keys. With this knowledge alone, you can adequately play pretty much any pop song you've heard. Number 2 is to use YouTube. Once upon a time, people learned how to read sheet music. They still do, but at this point, I personally don't see why I won't learn everything here on out from YouTube videos. YouTube is an incredible tool for learning piano. There are so many performance videos of songs posted on YouTube that look like this. You can slow down the speed to 25% and watch each note drift toward the keys and take whatever time you need to figure out what the note is. And you can listen to it to be sure it's the correct note. For me, it is far easier to just see what notes are being pressed and what notes when they're coming down than to read sheet music. I've been learning every piano song I learn these days. This is the way I learn it, and the process of learning is pretty fast from how I remember learning through sheet music when I was younger. Number 3 is work on each hand separately. Run through the song multiple times, only teaching yourself the left hand part. When you start making some progress, take a break from that hand and start training the other hand. It's far easier to learn each part separately and put them together than it is to attempt to learn both at the same time. Number 4, this is kind of a follow-up to number 3. While you're learning the song, be patient with yourself. Every song is different. Some songs are more challenging than others, and some small parts of songs are more challenging than the rest of the song. When you find a part that is challenging, take some time to target those parts with repetition. Get out of your head about it and just repeat it. If you can break things down into smaller pieces, like left hand separate from right hand, or breaking a difficult section into separate measures to work on, this can be helpful and it can speed up the process. Number 5, it can be helpful with how you train yourself to think about what your long-term goals are. If your goal is to be able to play melodic renditions of some of your favorite songs from the radio, this can be done in fairly simple ways. You may not need to learn complex chords, and you can learn simple left-hand patterns to support the right-hand melodies. A simple left-hand technique can be utilizing arpeggios. Look up a YouTube video on that. Look up a YouTube on arpeggios. Low octaves followed by mid-range chords can be a nice supporting technique with your left hand as well. Alternate between those two to create separation between verses and choruses. Experiment with right-hand melody lines as single notes, thirds, or octaves. These ideas alone will give you sufficient tools to create renditions of your songs that feel dynamic. All right, and some bonus tips. Stay consistent. Put good, consistent work in, but don't burn yourself out. Try to find things to learn that excite and motivate you. Learn songs that you really like. You know, if there's a song that you really like that you hear on the radio, try to learn how to play it on the piano. This is one of the beautiful things about music. You can see this when you think of, for example, if you've ever heard "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," there's a certain way that it was done in the classic, cartoon, and then some years ago, a heavy metal band came out with a screamo version of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." It totally works. You could do a reggae version of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." You could do a piano version of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." Good songs can translate between genres, and so if you hear a song on the radio that you just really love that song, break it down into its lead melody, and then support it with chords. And you can look up chords on ultimateguitar.com. There's chords there to just about any song that you've ever heard of. All right, so stay consistent, put good consistent work, don't burn yourself out. You can play around on the keys. You can make up your own training techniques. Try playing all the notes on the whole keyboard from low to high and high to low with just one hand as fast as you can. Then do the other hand. Again, play around with the keys, find shapes and patterns that are just fun to do, and make it fun to develop your hands and familiarity with the keys. You don't necessarily need to do drills are great. So consider, you can look up some drills on YouTube to just get your hand working in new ways. But just playing around is great too. And you can find different patterns and shapes that are fun for you to play, that you enjoy the sound, that you enjoy the shapes, and just experiment and get good at shifting between these different shapes and getting your hands comfortable with the keys. I hope this helps you with achieving your goals on the piano, and wish you the best on your music journey. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll be posting more informative and entertaining videos. Fancy outro.